Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another fantastic episode of Mark's Side of the Ring. I am your host, Miguel and Nick, alongside my co-host, Nick Fiorentino. What's going on, buddy?
Not much, man. Ready to break down this Clash of Champions card.
Yeah, we have an exciting show for you today, talking about Clash of Champions and all things Clash of Champions related. Before we do, though, of course, it's tradition at this point. What are you drinking, my friend?
I actually bought a bottle of Casa Dragones tequila. Comes in this nifty little box. Retails for about $35.99 on a 375 milliliter, so a pint. So I bought it coming off my birthday weekend, a big win in sports betting. So I'm drinking tequila straight. So we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, sounds like a fun weekend, and happy belated birthday to you, buddy. I know it's good. 40.
I hope everybody likes my shirt I got from my brother.
Love it. WrestleMania 6. What a classic. But, Nick, our fans, our listeners are not here to listen to talk to you about your birthday or what you're drinking. Frankly, they probably don't give a shit about any of that. What they are here for, what they are excited for, is to talk about, like we mentioned, Clash of Champions, which emanates this Sunday live from the Thunderdome in Orlando, Florida. So we have a jam-packed show going over all 9 matches confirmed. Clash of Champions, the Gold Rush, one night of the year where every WWE main show title is on the line. So we do have a lot of matches to go through. I'm ready if you are, my friend. You ready to rock and roll on this?
I'm ready. I was going to say, just one more point on the drink. I thought you were going to say it doesn't matter what I drink, but I thought that might have been copyright infringement from maybe something from the past. But
Might be for another time, but yeah. All right, we'll jump right on into it. So what I think is interesting as we kind of just we're going through the list here, I noticed that the first match we're going to talk about is the kickoff match, which is for the Raw Women's Championship. Now, before we even get into the match, I can't remember the last time where the Raw Women's Championship was defended on the kickoff show, but nevertheless, this year it is being defended on the kickoff show. We do have the Raw Women's Champion, Asuka, taking on the challenger, Zelina Vega. Who do you got? Tell me a little bit about who you're picking and why so.
I think, Asuka's going to win. But I would say the thing I'm most interested in this match is I think we've both mentioned multiple times before how we're big fans of Zelina Vega and, in the manager role. And now she's going to be stepping into a wrestling role. So I'm really excited in this match for nothing more than just to see how she does. I mean, she obviously super athletic, dating Aleister Black, so obviously he can give her some pointers. So we'll see what happens in the match in terms of outcome. I would say I'd be shocked if Asuka didn't take the win here. She's not losing to a perennial manager. We'll see what Vega comes from it, but I'm more interested in seeing how Vega does in this match more than anything else.
Yeah, I agree with the sense that there's no chance that Asuka is losing the championship. Could it be a disqualification finish? I guess it could be, but probably not in the kickoff match. I'm going Asuka all the way to cleanly retain the title. I think what's most important about this match, and kind of like you mentioned it, is it's probably Zelina Vega's highest profile, definitely her highest profile match since being in WWE. Being that she's been Andrade and Angel Garza's manager since pretty much coming to the main roster. Even when she was in NXT, she really didn't wrestle that much. But
I was going to ask you that because obviously, I don't watch NXT. I like to be surprised when they come up. So I was interested in is this her first match or?
It's not her first match, but it's her first, I don't know, I guess you would call it first high-profile match. She's randomly wrestled, if you remember, on Raw, once over the last
with the Bianca Belair stuff, too.
Right.
She's gotten physical, I guess, yeah. Okay. I am interested in this. This is a primetime spot. I know it's the pre-show, but it's a primetime spot for her, so I'm looking forward to seeing how she does.
Yeah, and I don't know if you ever really were into TNA, if you followed it, but she actually used to be in TNA as, I think her name was Rosalita. I don't know if you remember that or ever checked.
I didn't know that. No, I don't watch TNA at all, so I didn't know.
Yeah, and neither do I. But I actually made it a point to go back and kind of just check out some stuff on YouTube. And I think I had seen her a couple of times when she was on TNA, which is going back 4 or 5 years ago. But she was actually a pretty good wrestler. Now, it's been a couple of years since obviously she's been able to showcase what she's got. But she's a small chick, so I'm excited to see. I'm curious to see if she gives Asuka a showing. I think Asuka is the type of woman wrestler that doesn't have a bad match with anyone. You could almost put her as one of the AJ Styles of the women's division, where they can make anyone look good. So I have no doubt in my mind this will be a good match. But yeah, I think this is definitely Vega's biggest priority, biggest opportunity that she's had since being on the main roster. Regardless, win, lose, draw, which she won't win, but let's say win, lose, draw. I think the important thing for her is she able to connect with that audience at home? Is she able to connect with the sense that going forward we could see her in more matches? So
yeah, I think she wins by just being competitive with Asuka. I think the common fan would look at that as, hey, she competed really well with somebody who is, at one point as dominant a female wrestler as we've ever seen. I mean, she had an undefeated streak for a while.
Right.
So I think, even in a loss, even if she taps out, I don't necessarily think that's a big loss for her. If she looks good in this match, it'll springboard her for sure.
Yeah, the worst thing they could do is do a squash match, which I'm hoping they don't do. You never know with WWE, but I'm hoping they make her competitive for sure.
Yeah, that would be bad.
So the first match I put on the list here for the main show we're going to go over is the SmackDown Women's Championship. And we have Bayley, who's the SmackDown Women's Champion, versus Nikki Cross. Tell us a little bit about your thoughts on, kind of the storyline build up to this match and who you got and why.
I think there's a lot of, this is one of those matches that has so many different avenues and so many different layers to it. I think Bayley's going to win because I think that the Sasha Banks-Bayley feud is going to involve the title. Do I think it needs the title? No. I actually would think it would be pretty cool if Nikki Cross were to win, and during Celebration, maybe Alexa kind of goes full Bray Wyatt, trance and kind of attacks her, setting up a heel Alexa Bliss, and then that could be for the title. Because does Bayley Sasha Banks really need to be for the title? I don't think it does. I said Alexa, so my Alexa's going off in the background if you didn't.
Nice.
But I think that match doesn't need the title, Sasha Banks and Bayley. Whereas I think Ms. Bliss and Nikki Cross would need the title, and I think it would be cool to kind of see that avenue. So my brain says Bayley, my heart says Nikki. I'm going with my brain, so I think Bayley's going to win, but I think it'd be cool if Nikki came out with the win.
I have Bayley, too, for the win. I think it's interesting that you have two different storylines that are kind of, like you mentioned, meddling together in this, right? The whole Sasha and Bayley angle, as well as the Nikki Cross and Bliss angle as well, too, with kind of sprinkling a little Bray Wyatt. Could Bliss come out, support Nikki Cross, and basically turn on her during the match by being possessed if somebody says the Fiend, right? I think that's the trigger word we've learned on SmackDown the last couple of weeks is anytime you say the word the Fiend and she hears it, Bliss goes into this comatose, possessed Little Miss Bliss thing that she's been doing, which I personally, I don't know if you like it or not, but I think it's pretty cool. I mean, is it a little hokey? Sure. But I think it's nice to get Bliss involved in the storyline.
I don't necessarily hate it. I mean, I think Bray Wyatt should just be left alone. But I don't necessarily hate it. I mean, Bliss was kind of she's cooled down quite a bit from when she was red hot as a multi-time champion.
Right.
She's cooled down quite a bit. It actually seemed like this Nikki Cross Alexa Bliss thing was going to kind of culminate in a match between them two, and maybe obviously, like we said, it could. I don't think it was going to kind of go the route that it's gone with Bray Wyatt getting involved. I saw it more as like a Nia Jax, Ms. Bliss type deal, but when they feuded and it was kind of like going behind her back, it was obviously she was using Nikki, but I think it'll be interesting to see what happens. But like I said, I'm hoping that Nikki wins just to see where that storyline goes, because I don't necessarily think the title is needed for the other two.
Yeah, I would say the same thing, right? Bayley and Sasha is such a money storyline; it doesn't need the championship. If I know WWE booking, kind of like you do, it's going to definitely have the SmackDown Women's Championship attached to it because it just makes it that much more impactful, at least in Vince's eyes. But that's the real money showdown is whenever Bayley and Sasha take place. Perfect timing would be coming up at Hell in a Cell. I'd love to see them inside a Hell in a Cell match. That's obviously a topic we can go for another day. But yeah, back to my winner. I'm going Bayley all the way here, and maybe a Sasha interference. I think more importantly than anything else during the match, Bliss costs Nikki Cross the championship opportunity. Okay. Going back to the Raw side here, next match I have on our list here is for the Raw Tag Team Championship belts. We have the Street Profits, who are the current champions, versus Angel Garza and Andrade. First and foremost, I think this match has happened like 3 pay-per-views in a row. This is probably the match I'd say I'm least looking forward to. Garza and Andrade, unfortunately, I think they've been so watered down over the last 3 months over the summer because of just how much they've lost to the Street Profits, right? And Zelina Vega abandoning them. Really don't care. I'm going to go with my pick on this first. Going Street Profits all the way. Although, in my opinion, Garza and Andrade need this win badly to get back any credibility they have as a tag team. But knowing how WWE does their booking, Profits all the way, they'll retain the championship. With that being said, who do you got, and what do you think of this build?
Well, this is setting up to be a boring show with not much debate. Going Street Profits, too. I'm hoping that we start to disagree. I might just fucking disagree with you on something just so we disagree and argue. But, I mean, I don't see how the Street Profits lose. I'm actually kind of disappointed that they let Andrade and Garza win. I wanted to see Rey Mysterio's kid in this spot to try to, finish that storyline off with him and Seth Rollins. But that's not what we got. What we got is the Street Profits against Andrade and Garza, and I'm going Street Profits. I love the Street Profits. I mean, their matches are super entertaining. They're not like anything we've ever really seen before. I mean, if you look at these tag teams that we've had in the past of like just African-American tag teams, we've had like Harlem Heat, who were, Hall of Fame tag team. But we've never really seen like a tag team like in Crime Time was super over with the crowd, but they weren't like super high flyers. Like these guys are like almost like luchador high flyers. And I think they're super entertaining. I mean, anytime they're on TV, I really enjoy their matches. And I don't say that much for a lot of the product, but when they're on the TV, I like to tune in and watch them because I think they're super talented.
I would say Montez Ford is definitely going to be the breakout star if this team ever kind of dissolves, which they honestly don't need to because they're just super talented. They have so much charisma together. Angelo Dawkins, he's a hell of an athlete as well too. But I mean, Montez Ford just bleeds charisma. If you remember prior to COVID when they were doing those backstage segments, Ford was kind of like introducing themselves and kind of talking in all these different voices, pretending he was The Rock for a little bit, pretending he was some of these other Hall of Fame superstars. I agree, though. Yeah, Profits they're a very fun team to watch. I was talking to my buddy the other day. I want to get your thoughts. I know I didn't talk to you about this, but are you familiar with? You're obviously familiar with Private Party on AEW, right? Do you see the resemblance between the two? Do you think Private Party is like a direct knockoff of Street Profits?
I wouldn't be able to tell you who came first. I guess Street Profits came first. They are very similar. I'll say that. I'm not sure who came out first, but I could see similarities between the two. I mean, how great would a match between the two of them be if that were to ever happen? But
that would be cool.
Yeah, no, it's Street Profits. I can't give them enough credit, and hopefully, WWE's MO, with anything, Shawn Michaels, Marty Jannetty. Break them up and then have two just singles wrestlers that they have nothing to do with, make them the tag team champions or make them a tag team. We've seen that multiple times with WWE. I hope they keep these guys together. I like legitimate tag teams. I think it just works better than throwing two people together, which we'll see multiple times, at least 2 more times during this broadcast. But I'm going Street Profits, like I said, and I think they're super talented.
One last point that I just thought of off the top of my head, where you said just randomly breaking up tag teams. I'm still sour about the Iconics being broken up. I think Peyton has a bright future, but I just feel like her and Billie Kay, they just complement each other so much. Like, why would you break them up, right? I still don't understand that. 3 weeks later, you see Peyton Royce on Raw Monday. Billie Kay's out in her corner. I'm like, what the hell were they broken up for? They're not broken up. They just changed their music and they're not the Iconics anymore. Like, why would you do something like that?
It's got to be a weird dynamic when it comes to that. Obviously, I agree with you, but I think we both agree that we're both big Peyton Royce fans. So happy to see her, getting a deserved push. But it's got to be super weird for the two of them. Like, everybody knows that Peyton Royce is a star. I think Billie Kay's the funnier character. I think she's the one that kind of gets over on the mic a little bit more than Peyton Royce. But Peyton Royce, obviously, the more talented superstar. It's just got to be a weird dynamic. But, yeah, I'm disappointed that they broke them up as well.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think Peyton has a bright future. She's a future Raw, SmackDown, whatever, women's champion. Billie Kay, I don't know. Maybe one day she'll go back down to NXT. Hopefully, W doesn't gobble her up, or maybe they will. Maybe she'll end up being another great superstar to kind of go to the other promotion there. But only time will tell. The next match we got on our list is for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. We got Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro, who are the current SmackDown champions, versus Lucha House Party. Lucha House Party's had a little bit of a flair, right? A little bit of a, Kalisto's kind of had a little bit of, what's the word I'm looking for? A little umph to him over the last couple of weeks. Kind of was getting a little upset when they lost that match a couple of weeks back. I think it was a non-title match against them, and I think he shoved Grand Metalik and one of them. They started arguing, what have you. But looks like they're back on the same page now, and obviously they earned the number one contendership to take on Shinsuke and Cesaro. I'll go first on this one as well. I'm going Shinsuke and Cesaro. They're kind of a strange tag team. I still don't know if I even like them as a group together yet, and I'll get your thoughts in a second on that. But, they've obviously been successful so far in the last 2 months that they've been SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Lucha House Party, they're going to do some really cool things. It's going to probably be a pretty spectacle of a match. I could see some nice hurricanrana, some nice high-flying action there between these four. But at the end of the day, I don't see Lucha House Party as tag team champions. I'm going Shinsuke and Cesaro.
No, the seeds have definitely been planted on a Lucha House breakup, and it sounds like that's going to be the case. So one of two outcomes are going to happen. They can win the titles, lose them pretty quickly after the fact, and then that will inevitably lead to the breakup, or they could just lose this match right now and they could break up, and that's where I think we're going to go. So I'm going Cesaro and Nakamura. I will say this is a perfect example of what I meant when I said that they just take two guys who they don't know what to do with. I mean, Cesaro has been a tag team partner of like how many different people? I mean, Sheamus, Tyson Kidd, Nakamura, just off the top of my head. Obviously a part of the group with Wade Barrett. Wasn't he with them or was he not with them? I can't remember now at this point. Seems like whenever... No, it was Wade Barrett, Sheamus, Rusev, and yeah. They, for whatever reason, they get two foreigners together and they just kind of make them tag team partners, and they've done it time and time again. And we'll see. I mean, I think they're both better as single superstars, but I'm going to go with them for the win for sure. And the Lucha House Party breakup inevitably happens.
You're going with the breakup, huh? On Sunday, you think the breakup's happening?
I'm not going to say that it's going to happen on Sunday. It could happen on Monday, it's not Monday, obviously, but it's definitely coming.
Right. Yeah. Again, I don't know I don't know how I feel about this tag team, Shinsuke and Cesaro. I think they do some really nice things in the ring together, but I guess a part of me still wishes that they never ruined Shinsuke. He was such money in NXT, and I know you waited for him to come up on the main roster. You definitely remember the night he debuted, right? Remember that thunderous reaction he got when he debuted and his violinist came out and played a song for the first time?
Yep.
Or WrestleMania, which one was it? WrestleMania 34 in New Orleans when Nina Strauss played guitar off his song, and the place was just losing its mind. It's like, how the hell could you have ruined this guy? I don't know. I
mean, the guy's a Royal Rumble winner. All you had to do was just have him win the match, and he would have been the champion. He could have lost it shortly after, and that would have been fine. They just kind of ruined him. I mean, I don't blame them. It's just WWE has too many A and B plus players to get everybody over. There's just not enough, nights in a week for there to be stars showcased on every single show. So I don't necessarily kill WWE for that. I know a lot of people do. You just got a lot of talent. Not everybody could be the main eventer.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens with that match. I think so far we're almost halfway through here. It looks like we've agreed on every match so far. Is that correct?
I'm going to start. Yeah, I'm writing them down. I'm going to start disagreeing with you just for fucking the sake of disagreeing with you.
Nice. We should start putting money on this so that we actually have invested in these picks.
We could do shots.
We could. That's right. Maybe we will start doing the shots for next one. I know you got your drink candy. Next match we got on the list is another tag team championship match, and this time it's for the women's tag team championship, which the women's tag team titles can be defended on Raw, NXT, and/or SmackDown. So we got Nia Jax and Shayna, who are currently the who are currently the women's tag team champions, taking on the Riot Squad. in contrast to what I said about this last match, I know Jax and Shayna have been thrown together, but I kind of like this pairing together just because they're two monstrous type of women. I mean, you got Nia Jax with the size that she has. I mean, there's no woman on the roster that's like her. You got Shayna Baszler, who is a legit fighter. She brings a lot of credibility. I don't know if you remember ever watching her in UFC or not, but she kind of held her own when she was in MMA, in the MMA field, especially in UFC. I like this team. I think they easily destroy the Riot Squad. This one might be a squash, in my opinion. I'm going Jax and Shayna Baszler all the way.
Well, thank you, Lord. I think that the Riot Squad has actually kind of built some momentum lately, and I don't necessarily know, Nia Jax and Baszler, sure, everything you said is been spot on accurate. The only thing I would say is that it just seems like this is it almost reminds me of the Cesaro Sheamus tag team where they were fighting every single week, and then they just put them together, and then they just became friends. This storyline was built on the two of them, basically Shayna Baszler punking Nia Jax out on the Raw Underground, and it's kind of evolved from there. I don't think that storyline is over with. I would rather not see these guys as a tag team. I just think when you have a women's tag team title and a division for this, there's only so many women on the roster, so you got to kind of throw some teams together. I would rather see the Riot Squad win this match. I'm going with the Riot Squad on this match, and I'm hoping that Nia Jax and Baszler kind of break up and fight each other, because I think that's more entertaining than seeing them together.
So all jokes aside, you actually had the Riot Squad winning?
I would pick the Riot Squad. In terms of confidence pick, I'm putting it very low on the bottom. I don't have a lot of confidence. I could be talked into Nia Jax and Baszler winning, but I'm going to be different. I think Riot Squad over the last couple of weeks, we've seen them build some momentum. Maybe they're doing that to kind of make them look like a viable opponent. I think that they've built some momentum, and obviously, like I said, it could have been because they want to create a viable opponent for Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, but, I'm hoping it's to lead to a true tag team actually winning the tag team titles.
Yeah, I agree with you. On that, except I think for a while now, it's going to be Baszler and Nia Jax. So that's my pick. Let's move on to the United States Championship match. We got Bobby Lashley, who's currently United States Champion, versus Apollo Crews. And before we even get into this match, we got to talk about retribution. So the Hurt Business, right, which I'm actually becoming a huge fan of this stable, has been feuding with Retribution. And this past Monday, Retribution finally unmasked, and they kind of all revealed themselves. And I was able to identify 4 members of Retribution as former NXT superstars. We had Dio Madden, we had Dominic Dijakovic, we had Mia Yim, and Mercedes Martinez. Now, I know you don't watch NXT. You made it clear that you like to be surprised you came on the main roster. What was your first thoughts on seeing all these people unmask and what they were able to do?
It didn't live up to the hype for me personally. I think I think we all dreamed that it was going to be something bigger. I mean, we've mentioned people like CM Punk. We've mentioned, others. We've had our own theories on what it could have been. To use NXT people, I kind of was super against that, because I don't understand what the retribution is for NXT people. What are they, coming back from? When I think of the word retribution, I'm thinking of a comeback, a turnaround, I don't necessarily know what the retribution is. I think I'm going to go way out of left field and say that I hope that maybe John Cena's behind the faction, or I know you and I have talked through text, Triple H being behind the faction. I would, anything is better than just a bunch of NXT guys, because we've seen that before. I mean, outside of, it just being 2020 and not 10 years ago, it's basically the Nexus angle all over again. They're just a bunch of guys who are starting to make a name for themselves as a group. I think the masks are cool, kind of like a Bane vibe, and we'll see what happens with that. But I'm still kind of hoping that the storyline's not over and it gets a lot bigger, and some professional wrestlers with names, marquee names, get involved. But as of right now, I would say that it's kind of been a disappointment for me.
I think the masks and kind of the the final product of what they showed on Monday was interesting. The most interesting part for me is that these guys were not Dominic Dijakovic or Mia Yim or Mercedes Martinez. I mean, they all changed their names. Honestly, the names they picked, I think, were kind of dumb, like Slapjack and T-Bar and Mace, kind of stupid names. But I think the more important thing is I don't think this is done. I think this is just kind of the next chapter, right, as they continue to peel back the layers of what's coming next. I know we talked offline about this, and you kind of just mentioned it, but I truly believe that there's a possibility that Triple H is behind this, and I really hope so. And they're going to call it retribution because Hunter is looking to take over the company. And obviously, as a Triple H mark, I'd pray for nothing more than this. I'd love the opportunity for Triple H to be back in a main event storyline. But at the end of the day, I think it'd be really cool if he took an army from NXT and kind of led them to the main roster, telling Vince, your time is up. It's my time to shine. You're either going to give me this company or you're going to go down swinging. So,
yeah, I mean, I far be it for me to not look for an opportunity to make fun of you for being a huge Triple H mark, but anything is better than what it is right now. So I'd have to think that something's going to happen. Like we mentioned, John Cena would be far out of left field, dark horse. CM Punk, I think, would be the ultimate of unlikely scenarios. I think we can kind of rule that out at this point. He's not coming back. I think at this point it's kind of over with. But Triple H is better than what they're doing right now. So I would take that. But even that is kind of like, what I don't understand the name Retribution. He's not. I mean, he's a Hall of Fame. He's going to be like a 5-time Hall of Famer when it's all said and done.
Yeah,
for just about everything. So I don't understand really what the retribution is if it's Triple H, but anything is better than what it is right now. So as of right now, I would give the storyline and everything probably a C because we've seen it before. But I don't think it's over, so we'll see what happens.
How about as far as the match is concerned? Let's get back to the match. Bobby Lashley defending the United States Championship against Apollo Crews. I'm gonna let you go first. What do you got and why?
Man, I feel like the storyline's been going on forever. You know what? I'll say let's go Apollo Crews with the win, get back the title, and unfortunately, I don't think the feud is over. I think he begins to feud with Cedric Alexander as something different. But man, you mentioned before as another match being the match you're least looking forward to. I got to go with this one. I just feel like it's like I've seen it so many times. Like I'm done with this feud. And obviously, with what I'm saying is, if Crews wins, they're going to continue the feud with Cedric Alexander. So I'm kind of a hypocrite, with what I'm saying, but. I'm over it. I mean, if Lashley winning gets the feud over, then fucking give me Lashley. But I'm going to go Crews. I think Crews is going to win.
I got Lashley for this one, actually.
There you go. So 2 picks against each other.
And part of the reason I'm picking Lashley is because besides the fact that I actually think he's going to win is I'm praying the feud ends after this. Apollo Crews, Ricochet, they got to move on. I get it. I like I mentioned earlier, I like the Hurt Business. I think they're doing some really cool things. I like the fact that they're kind of heel stable, but they're also defending the WWE against Retribution. But Apollo Crews can go to SmackDown or move on to another storyline for all I care about. I think he's a great talent. He's a hell of a competitor, but I'm so over Lashley, MVP, whoever the hell else, Shelton Benjamin, and versus Apollo Crews. That's probably literally been happening since May now. So I know Rey Mysterio versus Seth has been happening since April, May. I'm all for that storyline. I like that a lot. This, on the other hand, it's time to put it to rest. I'm going Bobby Lashley. All right. So let's go to the final 3 matches here. And actually, these are the 3 matches I'm looking forward to the most. And I think you might agree with me on these next 3 matches as far as the hype that's being built into them. First up, we have for the Intercontinental Championship. And I know we've kind of talked about this the last couple weeks now, but I'm looking super forward to this match. We got the Intercontinental Champion Sami Zayn versus the Intercontinental Champion Jeff Hardy versus the Phenomenal One AJ Styles in a unification triple threat ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship. So I know we've been talking about the build up to the storyline. We've given some thoughts about this. Hit me with who you got, and how much on a scale of 1 to 10 are you looking forward to this match?
10 out of 10. The match I'm looking forward to the most. I'm hoping, and we've mentioned it before. I know I've mentioned it. I mean, Sami Zayn didn't lose the belt. He didn't defend it because he didn't want to, entertain the crowd and compete during the COVID-19 stuff. So, or at least that's what I believe is the reason, right? He wasn't hurt.
Yeah, he bowed out because of COVID.
Right. So he didn't lose the belt. I'm hoping that he wins the match. My pick is for him to win the match. I think this will be easily the match of the night, but I'll throw a dark horse of the Street Profits match being, possibly the match of the night. But let's see where the Sami Zayn storyline was going. Let's see where it ends, and let's continue that storyline. I'd like to see Sami Zayn win the match. I'm rooting for him.
I got the phenomenal one, AJ Styles. I think nothing would make AJ happier than to come out with 2 Intercontinental Championships around his shoulders and tell everyone why he's even more phenomenal now that he's a dual champion at the same time.
I mean, you're picking the best superstar of the 3 is obviously AJ Styles. So
yeah, I'm also picking the only one that's not the Intercontinental Champion. So
yeah, it could happen. I mean, we'll see what happens, but I just think Sami Zayn is just the guy. Never held a title in the World Wrestling Entertainment. He finally has the opportunity to do it. Obviously, COVID hits. He gives up the belt to no fault of his own. He deserves to be a champion. He's super over. He's super talented. He's entertaining. I like him a lot. So I'm hoping that he wins. I mean, I love AJ too. And I'm a Jeff Hardy fan as well. But do those two need it? No. I mean, AJ Styles can fight for the world title tomorrow. He doesn't need the Intercontinental title. And Jeff Hardy, at this point, how about we build a new star? Jeff Hardy's been around forever. He doesn't need the belt. Sami Zayn needs a belt. If Sami Zayn loses this match, where does Sami Zayn go from here? I mean, he beat Braun Strowman to win the belt. So I just don't know where he goes from here, whereas the other two can go anywhere, literally anywhere. So I'm going to go Sami Zayn for that reason alone, but I also, for my own bias of liking Sami Zayn, I'm hoping that Sami Zayn wins.
Yeah, I agree with everything you're saying. I'm just going with AJ Styles because I think that's what WWE is going to do. If we were actually putting some money on this, I'd want to make the smart pick. And to me, the smart bet is AJ Styles because, to your point, AJ can kind of do anything he wants. I mean, if AJ Styles fought for the 24/7 championship, it'd be entertaining, right?
So let me ask you something. As you obviously are super pro WWE, although you will call them out if they do something egregious or that doesn't make sense. What do you think is, to quote your boyfriend, best for business? Do you think AJ Styles winning the match is best for business? What would you say between the 3 is best for business?
Depends on which way you look at it. From a financial standpoint, AJ Styles is the most over, in my opinion, out of the 3 right now. He's the best wrestler in the world still. 41 years old. Jeff Hardy maybe has a little bit more star power than AJ Styles does, but if I'm Vince, I have these 3 on Fox. Fox is the new A show, right? Or SmackDown's the new A show. It's moving to Fox. I got AJ Styles as the Intercontinental Championship. From a growth perspective, though, I would probably go with Sami Zayn, right? Like, to your point, Sami probably definitely needs it more than the other two do. No doubt in my mind that Sami Zayn could thrive with a long Intercontinental Championship run. But again, just knowing WWE, I'm going to go AJ Styles is going to win this match.
Well, we've heard rumors, though, recently that Vince McMahon wants to build, younger stars and wants to build guys, new stars, I should say, although AJ Styles is over 40. Building new stars. Where does Sami Zayn go from here if he loses the match? What's the next feud for Sami Zayn if he loses this match on Sunday?
I mean, it depends, right? It depends on the finish. It could be a stance where Sami Zayn, I don't know, something ridiculous happens to him and he comes out complaining like, I never lost this match. Like, I don't know, something ridiculous happened. Now, I know it's a ladder match, so it'd be kind of hard to say so, but I don't know, maybe he gets stuck inside the ladder or something like that and complains about it and gets one more title off. I think Sami Zayn is a good enough heel where he can talk himself out of any situation and into a rematch down the road, whether it's at Hell in a Cell or what have you. So I don't think it completely ruins his character. I just think, again, from a financial standpoint, I think AJ Styles is your money guy. You said earlier there's so many guys right now. You can't have them all in the championship picture. You're not going to have AJ fight for the Universal Championship against Roman Reigns, right? You're not going to do a heel versus heel right now. So what do you do with AJ Styles? Do you just put him in his own feud? Yeah, you could, certainly. But right now, if I'm Vince and I'm the WWE, I'm the head honchos there, I'm saying AJ Styles is going to be my guy to carry that Intercontinental Championship.
So I can understand that.
We'll see what happens, but nevertheless, I'm going 10 out of 10 too. This is probably the match I'm looking forward to the most. So
yeah, no doubt. Have we agreed since over the last four matches? Have we agreed on any? So we started out with like agreeing on every single match, and now it seems like we disagree on every single match.
That is true. Yeah, that is true. I have a feeling we might agree at the next match, and we're going to move on to the WWE Championship. We got Drew McIntyre, who's the current WWE champion, taking on Randy Orton in an ambulance match. This is the match I'm looking forward to the second most. So I'm really, really excited for this match. I think an ambulance match is not something that they do all the time. Like, that's been done before. It usually works out to be a pretty decent match, whoever the two competitors or three competitors are. I think McIntyre and Orton had a hell of a match at SummerSlam. Unfortunately, it wasn't the best finish, and now I see why. Because they wanted to drag that storyline out. I'm going to give my thoughts on who I got, but I want to hear yours first. Who do you have in this match?
The last time we had one of these, pre-show prediction podcasts, we weren't in agreement. I mean, I picked Drew McIntyre, you picked Randy Orton, and Drew McIntyre won with a backslide. I think the plan all along was for Randy Orton and Edge to be for some kind of a title picture, and Edge isn't beating Drew McIntyre for the title, so it can only mean one thing. I'm going to go with Randy Orton on this match. I think Randy Orton finally overcomes Drew McIntyre, goes into a feud with someone else, and give me Randy Orton for the win in this match. I think it'll be a super entertaining match. Randy Orton has been incredible over the last year, but I think Randy Orton's going to win the match.
I was back and forth on who I was going to pick this match. Ultimately, though, I'm going to go Drew McIntyre to retain. So another one we don't agree on. I'm going Drew to win this match. I think Drew is the type of guy where this championship run didn't start off too hot for him, but over the last couple months, right, since the Thunderdome era, it's really picked up a lot of steam, I'd say since SummerSlam. So I think for McIntyre, it just kind of gives him that opportunity to continue on, move on to Keith Lee down the road, whereas Randy Orton, again, I don't know what's going to happen, and I really don't know how Orton will lose this match by picking Drew, but something's going to happen where Randy Orton takes the loss on this, whether it's a screwy finish or a clean finish, what have you. But I'm going Drew. I'm going Drew McIntyre to take on Keith Lee in a feud afterwards. Randy Orton moves on to somebody else. Don't be surprised if Randy Orton moves on to SmackDown after this, actually. I could see him going to Friday Night SmackDown.
Yeah, it could happen.
Say it again?
I said it could happen.
Yeah. So I know we talked a lot about this match a couple weeks ago, so we won't kind of beat it into the ground, but I think this is going to be a very entertaining match. The ambulance factor adds a lot to it, right, being that it's going to be basically a no disqualification. They're going to beat the piss out of each other, these two, and I'm curious to see if this closes the show or not, because what we have for our final match here, and this probably will close the show because it's Roman Reigns, but we got Roman Reigns defending the Universal Championship against his cousin, Jey Uso. I know you've kind of shitted on this storyline since its inception. I'm assuming you got Roman Reigns, but kind of give us a little snippet of what you're thinking here for this match.
I mean, it's Roman Reigns. We'll see. The thing I'm interested in most, we've talked for 2 straight podcasts on this match. The thing I'm interested in most is seeing a full heel Roman Reigns for an entire match. You know, he can't come out at the end and steal a victory. You know what I mean? And he's not in a tag team match as a heel. This is his first real true one-on-one match as a heel. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they do it and what happens. I think it would be cool, you know, like I mentioned before, if his tag team partner comes out and kind of turns and aligns himself with Roman Reigns. We've talked about the possibilities of him just, you know, Uso just lying down or something like that. But you know, I'm gonna go Roman Reigns. I would bet the mortgage on this one. I can't see Roman Reigns losing the title to an Uso.
Yeah, Roman definitely wins the match. What I'm curious about is how do they get to the finish here? I'm sticking by my guns and saying that he convinces Jey Uso to take the laydown for the win, and Roman Reigns, in a despicable manner, puts the one leg over his chest, counts to 3. You see Uso just kind of get up, sit down with his eyes over, or his hands over his eyes, like, what did I just do? Paul Heyman pats him on the back, right? Says, you did the right thing. Roman Reigns reassures him he does the right thing. And slowly but surely, you see Jey Uso kind of accepting reality, and that's for the bloodline, for the greater good, coming and doing what's the right thing for his big cousin, Roman Reigns. So, I don't know. You think there's any shot of that happening or no?
No. Roman Reigns is winning the match.
No, I said he's going to win, but do you think that Jey can lay down for him?
No, I don't. I mean, that would be a complete waste of a title match.
Would you be pissed if it happened?
I would be pissed for, like, the wrong reasons. Like, there's smart heat, and then there's really bad heat. This would be really bad heat.
I could see that. Maybe I'm watching too much WCW reruns on the network.
Where's my camera? The finger poke of doom.
Finger poke of doom. Nevertheless, though, however they get to the finish, Roman Reigns is definitely going to retain the title in this match and move on to his next competitor, which I hope is Big E. I want to quickly ask you, what's next for Roman after this match? You think it's Big E, or do you have someone else in mind?
Well, I've already mentioned I was hoping that it would be Big E. I mean, Sheamus fucked that up. But, you know, I would love to see Big E in the title picture. I mean, what else does he have to do with both of his partners injured? But I'm going, Roman Reigns, obviously, for the win, and it would be cool to see Big E in a feud with him after that. Yeah, for sure.
Yes. So that is all the matches here. It looks like we agreed on, I think, half of them, and then the other half we kind of had opposing picks. So for everyone, at home that's kind of keeping score, let us know. Give us feedback next week, or, on social media, let us know how we did. I think I'm going to beat Nick. I know for a fact I'm going to beat him because I'm smarter than Nick. He's inferior to me. He always has been, and he always will be. So,
I did just to segue into another podcast. I picked Miami, and they're up 14-0 right now. So at least I got that.
It's 14-7. I'm actually watching as we do this podcast.
Oh, damn it. I was getting Miami +3, though, so I'm still in it.
Good. That's a good bet. I like that one. Before we sign off, though, we did want to address one more thing that just happened this past week, and, of course, that is the sad passing of the Road Warrior Animal. This past, Wednesday, we got the news. Really sad to see his longtime tag team partner, Hawk, passed away a number of years ago. Now, unfortunately, got the news that Animal did as well, too. Nick, I'll be honest, Legion of Doom, Road Warriors were a little bit before my time. I kind of saw the ending of their career, but I know you were a big LOD fan. Give us one of your best memories for a Legion of Doom.
Man, I've seen them live. The first wrestling event I ever went to, the main event was the Ultimate Warrior versus Papa Shango. So take yourselves back to that era. They wrestled on the card. I can't remember who they wrestled. I'd like to think it was the Nasty Boys. But I remember they had the foam spikes. I had a pair of those. I was a huge Legion of Doom fan, and obviously, like some of the biggest moments that I can remember from the Legion of Doom is obviously their entrance at the SummerSlam, I believe '92, in Wembley Stadium. where Bobby Heenan was infamously saying, the dummy's driving the bike because they had Rocco on the bike. But I love the Legion of Doom. Man, I remember them beating at the next SummerSlam, or SummerSlam before that, beating the Nasty Boys in the no DQ match. I'm going to miss them an awful lot. And the last WrestleMania that was at the Meadowlands, I went to that wrestling autograph show, and I was pretty close to Animal, talked to him for a little bit. I thought I got a picture with him. I could have sworn I met him and got a picture with him, but I can't find it on my camera roll I was looking for, so maybe I didn't. But I did interact with them, and they're going to be missed, man. They were the greatest tag team of all time. If you're asking me the greatest tag team of all time, I'm going the Legion to do them 100% of the time. So they're going to be missed.
You read my mind. I was going to ask you, do you consider them the greatest tag team of all time?
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, well,
no doubt.
I definitely would put them up there. Again, truth be told, I haven't seen as much as their work, and I did go back and watch a few matches over the last couple of years just to kind of check them out more. And even when I was a kid, I would see a few of their matches here and there. But nevertheless, regardless if you consider them the best, they're certainly one of the best at the very least. So they'll certainly be missed, and it's an unfortunate part of life that we have to witness sometimes. But other than that, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and conclude our show. We appreciate everybody tuning in, as always, to check us out. Please continue to give us follows. You can find us and find this show on all media platforms, followed by the True Exact Radio family. We are on Instagram. You can follow this show on Spotify, on the podcast app on your iPhone, as well as on YouTube, all searching the True Exact Radio. Again, this has been a lot of fun, Nick. I look forward to our topic next week, and I hope you have a great night, my friend.
Yeah, you too. Well, as long as Miami covers, so I'll be having a good night. But thanks for this. I think the pay-per-view is going to be excellent. I hope everybody tunes in and watches it, and I look forward to our show next week.
All right. Take care, buddy.
All right, you too.